What's going on, everybody? Rob A again, and today we're taking a look at Transformers Masterpiece 47 Hound, the Cybertron Autobot Scout. I just received this from Amazon Japan last night, and it took some time to mess around with it, see how everything works out, and pretty cool. So we're going to check it out right now, and first we're going to start off with the box. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's pretty standard as far as Masterpiece, the current Masterpiece line goes. You've got the official Jeep logo here. This is a licensed Jeep Willis. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can see the vehicle mode and the robot mode here, of course. On the side, you've got the vehicle mode once again, along with some verbiage. You've got Hound looking as though he's going to clobber Spike to death, which I don't really get what that's about. And then on the back, you can see all the different... I got a little bit of a glare going, I apologize for that, but... let's see, move that other way. You can see just some of the various things. You've got the hologram projector showing off with Ironhide, and then all the various bits and bobs that actually come with the figure, as well as different faces and different face plates and things like that. The interaction with Spike, again, looks like he's about to be run over. It's weird. And just the various stuff. The various stuff, including this key to Ravage's cage from that one episode. Anyway, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it because there is a lot to do as far as transformation, and I want to keep this video reasonable in length. So we're going to go ahead and get straight to the review. First up, I just want to talk really quickly about the collector card that actually comes packed with this figure. You can see it's very nice painting of Hound here. On the back, of course, you've got the stats for the character. I could be just wrong completely, but it feels a little bit thinner than they have been. But again, that could be just me misremembering. I don't really spend a whole lot of time with these cards. Anyway, you also get this little sheet of annotations, or an addendum rather, to the instruction booklet, because quite frankly the instruction booklet kind of is not, it's not amazing. It's not great. But it does show you some of the stuff you can do. You put all the different parts on and things like that, all the different accessories. And then of course the crazy, 50-step or whatever transformation, and all of that. And you can see more of the vehicle mode and more of those nice little pictures. It shows off all the different weapons and things like that. Soft top parts. Who doesn't love those, right? Missile launcher, hologram gun, and all that fun stuff. The visor, key of the cage, which, I think that's the I think that's the Nick Cage biopic coming out. Anyway, all that. Here is Hound in vehicle mode. Pretty nice vehicle mode. It rolls fairly nicely. I think I've got something slightly misaligned up here, because it does normally roll a little bit more nicely than that. You can see it's rolling fine, but this wheel is not quite touching the ground or the surface. But you get the idea. You got the Jeep logo the molded in there. We've got a couple of spikes here. We got this spike, which we'll talk about later. We've got this hologram driver, which is pretty cool. You got that going on, so that's neat. It's just solid. It's not posable like the other figure, but it works really nicely. Super crazy long legs, really lanky looking, weird, but it's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to have that included. And then of course, Hound himself. See some nice silver paint on those headlights. You got the tampoed logos on the top here, on the side. Very nice paint all the way around. You've got the rear lights. Spare tire inside the vehicle. Here, I'll just get this out of the way so we can kind of check stuff out. Inside the vehicle, you got you actually do have little pads for the feet. They do have pegs for Spike to peg onto. Good luck actually getting them onto those. You got that on the front or this side as well. You've got the adjustable steering. You do have not really adjustable seats, but they do move around just for transformation, so you might be able to get some little wiggle room out of that. And then, you know, pretty cool, you can actually fold the windshield down, just like on the real Feller. And also, you can open up the bonnet to see engine. Not really engine so much as just robot arms kind of crunched up in there. But you can do that if that is something that you'd like to do. Also included with the vehicle mode, I'm kind of focusing on just this right now, we do have the soft top, and there are spaces inside the soft top for the accessories to go. And honestly, here's the hologram gun. I'm not sure, there's not really any place else to put this that I've found in vehicle mode. So I just kind of, it's got this little indentation here. I just jammed it onto this little thing here, but I'm not convinced that that's where that's supposed to go, because I feel like this plug is for the jerry can. This plug is for the gun on the back, and this I feel like is for the spare tire, because it kind of does, it just kind of seems to fit it better. But in the meantime, I'm just using this and just kind of jamming it on there, and I don't feel super confident about that. But if you guys know if there's an actual spot for this, just feel free to let me know in the comments. But other than that, I'm just leaving it there for now. Now you can attach the soft top to the Jeep, and you can do it without actually removing this kind of weird bendy cannon on the back here. And what you do is you spin it around like that, you bring this down between the two seats, and then you just fold the barrel of the weapon just in like that, and it kind of just crunches in. So then you can just take this thing and you pop it right over, and it's supposed to slot over over top of the windshield here. We'll see if it wants to cooperate. There we go. So you've got the soft top on. It's not quite on straight, but there, you get the idea. But there's the soft top, and it's cool. It still works. Everything's inside. Everything's all plugged up. You can see the spare tire and the jerry can are still in the back here, underside of the vehicle, with this very suggestive rocket coming right up under the middle there. But you know, you got that going on, so that's pretty neat. And of course, you can just remove that and pop this back out and just straighten it all out. Now the cool thing about this is, as I mentioned, this is designed so that all of these extra pieces on the back and on the cannon here, the rocket, whatever you want to call this thing, they don't have to be removed to transform him. They do all fold in and get tucked inside the robot mode while it's transforming. But the problem with that is that you can kind of see there's a million joints in this gun, and it kind of does break up the flow of the wheels and stuff like that, and it looks kind of a little bit strange. But you know what? There are worse things in the world. So overall, not bad at all. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy ready for transformation. I guess I should take a second to talk about a little Spike here. So you've got included in the set this little Spike figure. He is awful lanky. His legs are insanely long. They're like 1.5 times the length of the rest of his body. He can kick real high. I mean, maybe his proportions are not super off, but they look super off. And I don't know what the deal is, but he can pose a little bit. He's got, you know, posable arms. They go out. They're on little ball joint dudes. His legs are on ball joints. He's got I can't tell if he's got a waist. It looks like he's got a waist swivel, but I can't quite tell. He does have kind of an upper waist swivel, so you got that going on. His head is on, I think, a ball joint of sorts. And then he's got the bendy knees as well, and those sweet little duck boots. But yeah, you can pose him. He can do his little Jeff Goldblum on the hood of the car if you want to. And I don't really understand why they included this guy, but you know, it's here, so you know, you guys can officially recreate all of your favorite scenes from Transformers. There you go. I personally think he just looks a little bit too tall with the Jeep, or he just looks a little weird. I think the Mega Construx figure looks a little bit more like better proportioned with the vehicle, but that's just my personal preference. You guys may think different, and that is totally cool. But as I did show before, you can put him in the driver's seat or passenger seat, whatever you want to do, and he just sits right in there, just like that. Alright guys, so let's transform Hound into robot mode. I'm going to do my best to leave all of the accessories attached here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and fold this weapon up and just kind of get it sort of out of the way, if at all possible, just like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and push these side mirrors down, just get them out of the way so we don't have to think about them later. Then we're going to come over here, and underneath we're going to pull up on the seats, because these are pegged into the robot mode legs, and then we're going to bring these straight up like that. Then we unpeg this center console here. It's just pegged onto the legs like that, and that'll allow us to unpeg the back end and separate the legs. Next, bring this whole section forward, just like that. Back here at the legs, we can take these panels on the side, flip them down. You don't have to do that right now, but might as well flip this down as well. Bring these sections back. Take these panels up and out, just like that. Then we're going to take the wheels and we're going to pull apart just like this, and do the same on both sides of the wheels. Until they fit into the leg cavity, just like that. So that's kind of a neat trick. Do the same on the other side. Go. They could be a little tricky, especially if you don't really have any like fingernails to speak of, but you'll get them in eventually. And then you can go ahead and close this panel. Close this panel, and then these side panels can come down. You can see there's a hole here and a tab and a little tab here that'll fit right into this spot. There we go. Now we can focus on the feet. So the feet can be a little annoying to deal with, but it shouldn't be too bad. So we're going to come back here to the headrest on the back of the seats. We're going to push these back into the back of the seats here. And then we can push the seat cushions in all the way, and that's going to bring the tops of the feet up. And we just want everything to kind of get up and out of the way as far as the feet go. Then we're going to go ahead and take these panels, and there's a little accordion joint here. So I'm going to bring these panels out all the way down. And so for this side, we're going to do it with the wheel here. This is going to fold in, and the wheel halves themselves are going to fold in, similar to what happened with the other wheels. But in this case, it's just going to fold up just like that, and then sit inside the what'll be the foot. Then we can bring this section back out, but make sure it's flush with the base of the foot this time. Close it up, and then we bring this round section down and around, and there's a little hole here and a little tab on the back of that. So we're going to just close that down, bring this around, and then tab it in. And that is one foot pretty much ready to go. And we'll do the same on the other side, but this is going to be a little more tricky because we've got to deal with this stupid gun and the jerry can. So we're going to bring this down again, accordion out, just like this. The jerry can we're going to turn just like that, and that will fold in just like so. The gun we're going to swing around, if it'll just not pop off, because it likes to pop off. Swing it around like this, bring it down, and just fold it in just like that. We're going to do the same on this side. We're going to fold the section back over itself to close up the foot. Bring this down, bring the circular section down to kind of lock all that into place. And there's the other foot ready to go. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take the leg, and this joint is going to be rotated to the center like that, and then we can rotate the feet towards the front, and then you can see it's a little bit tall. We're just going to fold this joint in on itself. There we go. Just like that. Do the same on the other side. Bring that down. And those are the legs done. So that actually wasn't that bad. It looks like a lot when you're looking at the instructions, but it's not too bad. Next up, we're going to go ahead and take this top section with the whole console and this missile, and we're just going to rotate it sort of up and get it out of the way-ish, if that's all possible. Just like that. Next, we're going to fold this forward, bring the arms out. Just like so. Let's get these guys out to the side. And then we're going to come around here. We're going to take the front fender pieces, and they are going to rotate out and up. And actually, I did that sort of backwards. It might be easier to actually get these out and up before you take the arms out. So we're going to bring these out, and they're going to pull all the way out from the sides and go up further onto the hood of the Jeep. So just like you see here, from here. So I'm going to rotate this back down. We're going to bring this up, end up like that. And that's how it's going to look. Okay? So now we can bring the arms up and around. And here's the fun part. So they're on this joint, and the shoulders can just rotate around. And you want to just bring them all the way up, and you want to pull it rotate it all the way out. There's a little part here you can actually grip. Rotate it all the way around, and then you'll hear it click into place. And when you first transform this guy, you're going to look at it and you're going to, I know that's not right, but it looks like if I click it any further, it'll break, and you'll be concerned, like I was. But it's okay. Just do it. And I'll try and show you guys a little bit better on this side. You can see this little ridge here, and there's a clipped portion. You just got to push it all the way up and in, and that's going to create those shoulders the way they're meant to be. Okay? So then we can bring the robot mode head and kind of get all this stuff out of the way. We're going to go ahead and rotate the wheels into the sides, and keep in mind where these little tab sections are here, because they're going to tab into a couple little tabs on the sides. Go ahead and bring the foot panels down. And we're just going to accordion everything down here. Actually, not quite. We're going to come around to the front here. And I keep forgetting this step because it seems kind of silly to me, but these sections here actually rotate around and will fold up like that. And that's all you want to do. Just make sure you do that first. Then you can bring this whole section down. And once again, you'll see this tab, which is a little hard to see, is going to slot into the top of the wheel. Just like that. Make sure it happens on the other side too. There you go. Now these sections, you can bring these down. Turn the seats around, bring that down, and then fold this section in just like that. Bring the seat down, fold it around just so you can see the tab holes on it. Then fold it in. Oh, we'll fold the steering wheel down first, and then fold that section in. And we're just about done. We're going to bring this section down and around, rotate it all the way, bring it up, fold that windshield back, collapse the head onto where it ought to go. We're going to bring this section around on this part of the... It's got like a million different joints. We're going to bring it around this side on this joint, and then tab it into the side of the head here. And then we're going to rotate this around, open this panel, bring this section around and down, bring up the little thruster bit. This section can come up like that. And there you have the shoulder rocket. And then last but not least, we just have to finish up the arms. So just rotate the arms until the elbow is facing forward and the elbow is facing the correct way there. And then you come in and there's a little tiny nub on the hands where you can grab it and hopefully, if you're lucky, actually get the hand out. I don't really particularly like this part because it's obviously not coming super easily, and I'm a little concerned that that nub will break at some point and then you won't be able to get the hands out without having to take your figure apart, which is not ideal. But once you get that done, you can go ahead and rotate the other side, do all the same business. Fight with the hand to try and get it out. There we go. And there you have Hound in robot mode. And he looks very nice. He's got that kind of very simple cartoon aesthetic without being terrible looking. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the cartoon aesthetic. I think it looks really boring, personally, but you know, some people really like it, some people live by it, so to them I say good on you, but I like to have a little bit of detail in my robots, and that's just how I feel. He does have these panels which kind of get in the way of bringing his arms all the way down to his sides, which is a little strange, but you can, I guess, you know, maneuver around those if you need to. He does have his shoulders can come out forward like that, so you can get some posability going if you need to. The head is on a nice, I think it's on a ball joint on that neck. Get some decent articulation out of that, and you can, of course, lift the head stock if you need to. But his head does have a fair range of upward motion, so that's cool. I'll give you a nice close-up of that face sculpt, which is fine. You got waist articulation. He does have a hip crunch or ab crunch. He's got arms out to the side, actually way up, like that. Full rotation there. Upper arm swivel. Forearm swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow. You can rotate the hands. The thumb is posable to some extent. He's got a forefinger separate from the rest of his fingers, and the hand can go out like that as well. So that's kind of cool. So you can get some real wide, like kung fu stances, I guess. He's got a cool trick with his hips where the entire hip skirt will go up instead of like a panel that has to get out of the way. He does have panels on the side, but he's also got what feels like kind of ratchets, so it's a little squeaky going back, but it does ratchet going forward. Goes out to the side. He does not have a knee swivel, but he does have the kind of rotating this thing, which doesn't really do it, but his hip swivels, so you can get that going. He's got a decent knee bend there, and he's got ankle tilt like a champ. Foot goes back and forward a nice little bit, so he's definitely got some posability, so that's really cool. Quickly, I want to show off the accessories again. We do have the canopy thing, which I guess technically becomes a shield, so he can hold that, I guess. I don't really know why you would do that, but he can if that's what you want to do. So we'll go ahead and put that in his hand. Okay, so he's got that. It's a shield, super heavy, it's unnecessary, and it's a soft top shield anyway, so I don't know how that's going to work, but whatever. He's got this key for Ravage's cage, and he can hold that in his little fingers, I guess, if that's something you want out of life. So he can be like, hey, remember that one scene? Here's the key. And they added this for it as well, which I cannot even comprehend, but on the back, when you crunch his abs, he's got this little indentation, you see. You can flip this out. Come on, flip out. There we go. And it is a key ring. So he can hold the key on his waist. They added a pin and molded an extra piece just for that. Just for that. Oh boy. Alright, so that's a key. You got Ravage key. That's cool. His weapon, he does have the Hologram Gun, which has the little hologram part, which you can plug into his hand. Now, the problem is his thumb actually kind of gets in the way a little bit. Like, it's not bad, but it's like you're just trying to move stuff out of the way so you can get stuff in the way, you know what I'm saying? No, probably you don't. Anyway, so he's got the Hologram Gun. that's cool. Shoots a big hologram blue cone out, so you got that going on. It's just a blue cone, nothing else to really talk about there. And the gun itself can actually split in two parts, like that. And what you can do here is he's got you can open his leg up, should you so desire, and there's a little peg in there that you can peg the front end of the weapon onto and store it in his leg. They really crammed a lot of stuff into this guy's legs. Actually, can you actually close this thing with this on there? I haven't really tried it with this yet, but in theory, we're doing this. And this side also opens out, and there's a little section in there that you can fold this up, and supposedly it fits this whole thing. Yeah, there you go. Fits just like that. And then that can fold up, and that does close, so I think maybe just something is a little off kilter on this side. Let's see here. I don't know why it's not playing ball, but there we go, we got it. So you can store his weapon inside his leg parts, at least in robot mode. I don't think you can store them there in vehicle mode, but I honestly have not tried. So you might actually be able to do that if you are so inclined. He does also have the head change gimmick. We can lift his helmet up. He does have the visor as well. The head pops up and off. You can see the head there. Let me see if I can get into the visor, because there's not a little raised tab to actually get it with your hand. You gotta like dig at the edge of it, which is pretty terrible. But his head does flip far pretty back, so you can get that going off. I'll show that off in a moment. But we'll just pick one of the two heads. Angry yell face. You just plug that right on, and then you can lower the visor. So now he's got a mask on and he's yelling, but nobody can hear him because he's got the mask on. It's a huge embarrassment, really. And then you can just flip that right back up, and his helmet goes back down. So you got that going on. So anyway, Hound, I'm going to show him off with some other figures. There you go. Oh boy. Let's move him back here, and we'll show him off with Prowl and Prime. I meant to show his vehicle mode off with another car. I totally forgot to, so I apologize. But, you know, he's about the same. Anyway, and here's Spike, because why not? Weirdly lanky Spike. Tall drink of water he is. Not standing up because he's a jerk. There you go. So yeah, that is Masterpiece Hound. A really solid figure. I do like him a lot. He does fit in line with the older, more detailed Masterpiece figures, as well as the newer, like, just cartoony flat surfaces everywhere. And it's actually really impressive that they managed to get this figure out of what is a licensed, nice-looking Jeep, which, you know, you just think, oh, there's going to be just feet hanging off the back of it, or just hands everywhere. And that's not the case. He actually looks really good, and all of his parts are integrated. I'm really impressed that you were able to keep the back cannon and the the jerry can and the extra the spare tire are all able to integrate into the robot mode. I think that's really, really clever how they did it. He's got just about no backpack. He's just got a little steering wheel hanging out this side, which is a little strange. Maybe it would have been cool to, like, I don't know, have it somehow rotate to the center and like go in between the two wheels or something like that. Might have been a little bit better, but it's really not a big deal. There is a peg to have him on a stand as well, if that's your thing. But overall, I think they did a really nice job with him. I think he looks really, really cool. He's a nice figure, fun to play with. Actually, not that bad to transform, even though it looks like a 1.5 million steps, which I appreciate. It's not that bad. The instructions actually make it look worse than it actually is. So I'm very pleased with him. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, hit that like button. It really does help me enough. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. I think maybe bye for now.